Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to Big C and them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. And of course, you good old boys are growing by leaps and bounds over in Europe. You know, Canada, we love you so much, Canada, but still there's no one we love, Big C, any more than the good old boys down south and the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all of you good old boys down south?
We might be calling this the land of the heat wave down here. I don't know if it's heat, but it's free heat going on down here. It's warm and humid, you know, the body's a little sticky. I'm thinking about I might want to take a shower tonight.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is a gorgeous day. Seeing some wonderful baseball being played, Charlton.
Oh, yeah.
Just everything is exciting in the world of sports.
Well, Big C, today is it is July the 19th, 2017 in the land of the free and the home of the brave. There's so many things in sports to talk about. But I do want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, I want to start a little bit. You know, the Lakers won their championship a couple of nights ago, and obviously Magic Johnson says they're back for Summer League. That's great for the Summer League. But just tell me, Magic's not planning a parade in Los Angeles for becoming the Summer League champions. Big C, your thoughts?
I think the last time that Magic was with the Lakers, he thought that players that he had as a coach would play like he did as a player.
Yeah.
But the game has changed a lot since Magic's days. Magic was a constant professional. You think about the guys in the league, Charlton. Summer League, you're looking at 99% of those guys will probably never see an NBA game, Charlton.
Yeah.
And luckily some of them will get to Europe.
Yeah.
But, you know, to go out and feel that you've dominated in the Summer League, that's a nice caveat,
Yeah.
you know, to put in your scrapbook.
Yeah.
But when you're going against the grown men every day, Charlton, 82 games of the regular season, you didn't see any of the Lakers out there playing against the real Clippers,
Yep.
against the real Warriors, against the real Cavaliers, Charlton, even against the real Celtics.
Yeah.
These are the teams that you have to go out and face night in and night out. The guys who have all-star players.
Yeah.
Not all training camp players.
Hold on, Big C. You just made up something. We're going to start the Big C Sports all training camp team where everybody gets a trophy. Is that what you said, Big C?
That's what it's like, Joe. This is like a youth sport. You know, when you go out to youth soccer and Pop Warner football, everybody gets a participation.
Yeah.
Even the 3 kids that didn't play. They have one also.
That's funny. We need to make sure we get more in line with that. A lot of good things going on in the world of sports. Last night, Big C, Bruno Mars was actually in Sacramento at the Golden One Center, played a lot of songs for the 24 Karat concert. But I just want to say to you, because you brought up something back in the day where the days when I was growing up, they would have the star singer like a Jeffrey Osborne, or they had the OJs, and they would have a backup crew, right? They would have guys behind them dancing, but they didn't all have microphones. I think Bruno Mars, no, he's not Michael Jackson, he's not Prince, but as far as an entertainer, it sure is refreshing to see a young African-American entertainer where you don't have to bleep out every 7 words. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, he brings back a lot of reminiscence, you know, when you listen to his music. You think about groups like The Temptations, Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know, the Shy-Lights. You know, these groups, Charlton, were great entertainers. And even when you had solo performers such as the James Brown.
Yeah.
You know, Goody Pendergrass. They had an orchestra behind them, Charlton, and they had choreography on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, when you listen to those young rappers like you listen to in your car all the time, Charlton,
yeah.
and you got 9 or 10 guys got a microphone,
yeah,
running across the stage, waving their hands,
yeah,
people to do whatever, and no one knows who to follow or listen to. So
yeah.
Because they're all overlapping each other.
Yeah.
So when you get an artistic entertainer such as a Bruno Mars, with the great choreography and the brass that he has there, and that's what I love so much.
Yeah.
Is the horns that he has in the background.
Yeah.
That takes it down to music that you can understand, whether it's jazz, whether it's funk, all of that comes into play.
Yeah.
But Bruno Mars is a concert professional. We've seen him twice at the Super Bowl. That lets you know that he's family and entertainment friendly, Charlton, because when you listen to to his song, you hear
Yeah.
what Bruno said.
Yeah.
Not what the DJ or the station is reaching out on the radio. And it's like, what 5 words did I mean?
Yep, that's true, Big Z. And obviously, I wish the man all the great luck in the world. I don't go to many concerts and I don't get in for free, but obviously people are paying $700 to $1,000 to hear a guy perform. Obviously, he's a great performer. Wish him all the luck. But I do want to mention Common, the great rapper Common, who's also an actor. He's actually coming to Sacramento later this year in the summertime. He's doing a free concert, like FREE free. So I figured Big C's going to be at that one too. But he's doing a free concert. It has a message to it. It's not just about coming out and rapping. Big C, Common's doing a concert where they're talking about criminal justice reform. The same thing that Ronald Reagan said he was going to do back in the day. But the reform that Ronald Reagan wanted, he wanted to lock up more black people. Common's trying to get more people unlocked from the jail cells, Big C. It's a serious matter. They're expecting over 10,000 people to come to that concert. Now, I love Bruno Mars, but I would love that some of these entertainers that go around talking about rapping and singing would also bring up the same issues that Common's bringing up, and they're not being told to get the hell out of the country. It's actually a serious matter. When you're not famous and you're black, you have a 1 in 4 chance of being under the tutelage of the criminal justice system. 1 in 4 black men in the United States. Big C, we got to talk more about that. Your thoughts?
Well, did Donald Trump had in common doing a criminal justice reform?
No.
Because he may be telling Marina, don't let it perform. Because he doesn't want to see anything like this.
Yeah.
It's appalling at the level that some of this stuff has gone to in America. And I know being a policeman is a very, very tough job and an honorable profession.
Yeah.
But there's so many bad people out there that are in that profession that make those quality, enforcement people look bad.
Yeah.
And it's a bad scenario. Even today in Baltimore, Charlton, there was a tape release of an officer planting evidence.
Really?
Drug evidence and this is the same city that was in a riot mode a year and a half ago under Freddie Graves' death.
Did he plan it on a white kid, blonde-haired white kid, Big C? Is that what he's doing now?
Well, Charlton, he did this 6 months ago and it was released, okay?
Yeah.
This officer has 53 standing drug cases right now in court, pending. But, it showed on his body cam where he had planted evidence and went back and arrested this young man, okay?
Was this in a white community, though, Big C? Was it in a white community?
It's not in a white community, Charlton, and I don't want to say what community it is.
Yeah.
White, okay?
Yeah.
But this is what happened, and the officer was white, though.
Yeah.
And that's the problem in America. And these things go on regardless of what minority group may say their officers are doing. These things happen. They're just not making up these stories.
Yeah.
And so when we have Common coming in talking about police reform, Charlton, that is the proper thing that Americans should do. This is what Colin Kaepernick talked about.
Yeah.
And cost him the job. I mean, we keep talking about Colin Kaepernick. I'm still waiting on anybody else in the media to come tell me what Colin Kaepernick did wrong from a social perspective.
Yeah.
Because that's why he lost his job, because he was standing up for injustice and people who did not have a voice.
Yeah.
He utilized the voice that he had, which appalled a lot of NFL owners
Yeah.
and the president, because these NFL owners are known to hire criminals. I mean, I beg any American citizen, any sports fan, and yet athletes are normal people. But go look at the roster on any NFL team and see what the arrest record is on these rosters. And
Yeah.
you'll see that you don't have Joe plus citizen on all these teams, Charlton. These guys' ledgers are worse than a lot of your neighbors when you look at it.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Big C. And the reason things don't change is because people are happy with the status quo. And they don't say anything about it. But obviously, if you have a voice, if you speak the truth, not everybody's going to believe you. We've seen that with Donald Trump. Some people believe lies. And so that's why they lie so much. Either Donald's lying or the FBI's lying or the CIA. So you got to pick your poison when it comes to Donald Trump. But you're right. A lot of people just don't care about hearing the truth, especially if it points a finger at them. But we're going to keep talking about the truth, Big C. Also, another truth that I want to bring up, Big C, in the world of promotion. And we're in the promotion business, but I've yet to see a program where you got on and bleeply bleep and blankly blank me and did it 4 days in a row. I want to ask you, with promotion, and Don King was one of the best at it, Bob Arum, them good old boys back in the day, why is it that hate sells in America? Hate, whether it's hate in boxing, the McGregor and Floyd Money Mayweather, where they blankety blank and bleepity bleep and your mama this and your daddy that, and politics, they use Willie Horton. That's who Ronald Reagan used to scare white people into getting the white vote. And in Hollywood, we had the Oscar #SoWhite incident going on because Hollywood's also been very exclusionary. We have to say that sports is not as bad unless it's trying to get a job, and Colin Kaepernick is facing that garbage. But why does hate sell so well in America, Big C? Your thoughts?
You know, it's just like the time of the year we're in, John. We're in the summer, okay?
Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah.
And everybody enjoys ice cream. And no one notices anybody else eating ice cream when they're eating it, okay?
Yeah.
Because they'll just say, I'll go get myself one. That's what racism is about, Charlton. Everybody sees racism. Everybody has racism, and regardless of ethnicity.
Yeah.
It's not always shown by everybody.
Yep.
But it's become so poignant in the past year in America, especially after the last presidential campaign that was ran.
Yeah.
And it was spoken by our current president. Racism is back in America.
That's a shame.
You don't have to hide it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's used expeditiously all the time, Charlton.
Yeah.
It comes out, it's spewed, and people say, well, no, that's not what it is. When you try to explain that racism is not what it is,
yeah,
then you're the racist, okay?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to hide your actions.
It's
there.
It's a lot.
But America, at some point, and I don't know if it will ever occur in our lifetime. I know it won't mind. You're a young boy and stuff. But, you know, when we look at this, Charlton, how it's done, you know, systematically through society. We just got through talking about the Baltimore police officers.
Yeah.
That's racism, Charlton.
Yeah.
And that's control racism because you have power.
Yeah.
And that's where racism comes from, Charlton, is the people of power. 80% of racism comes from people of power because they're untouchable.
Yeah.
You know, when we look at the corporate world and, you know, when an African-American or Hispanic goes in for a job interview,
yeah,
oh, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
See, a less qualified white guy can get in the job, you know, because he can learn.
Yep.
Even though you do not hire the guy that's qualified, or he's overqualified, which is another semantic that is used.
No.
You know, even in housing, Charlton, look, well, we don't have any place for rent. But send your white buddy in there, they sign him a lease.
Yeah.
5 minutes after he arrives.
That happened to me, ironically, back in college. I was trying to rent apartments, and the white guy was telling me, hey, we're proud of you being on the team, and good luck this year, and you're big, strong, and, you know, you look like a good-looking kid. You play football? That kind of thing. But, yeah, we don't have any openings, even though there was an opening in the paper. Almost all of my white teammates went down and rented up the whole place, Big C, the same day. And so we know it exists, Big C. I do want to ask you, because of the thing with we talked about the race issue, the NCAA Division I, they hired this big, primarily 4 main hires recently. Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma. Mike Sanford Jr. from Western Kentucky. P.J. Fleck, Minnesota. And then Major Applewhite hired at Houston. They're all Caucasian as far as I believe. These are all good programs, especially Oklahoma and Houston should have good football this year. Minnesota can come up and surprise you at times. And then Western Kentucky, you know, they're a decent program as well. But they're all Caucasian men, and obviously, they don't have a Rooney Rule in college, but I'll just bring it out again, because you always bring it to my mind, especially being down in the South. 80% of the starters on top football conferences in D1, 80% of them African Americans, but when it comes to jobs, there's only about 12% to 14% that get jobs. But see, why is that still an issue today?
Well, Charles, what really occurs is when you look at the boosters of these major universities, the big money donors, they're predominantly white. And so they want to rub elbows with the guy that looks like him.
Yeah.
So when they want to tell that joke that they told 30 and 40 years ago, there was a racial epithet, they can still say that joke without being offended.
Yeah.
They make decisions. It's not always the university. It's the money that makes the decision.
Yeah.
And when you're involved in top-flight athletic programs around the country,
yeah,
you want to bring in a good old boy that looks like you.
Yeah.
And I don't care what part of the country you're in, because when you spoke about 80% of these athletes on these major college programs, 75 to 80% are African American, you're going to tell me that a prominent African American could not deliver a message of guidance to these young men, Charlton, could not go out and recruit the half-dozen white athletes that they have on the team? There wouldn't be a problem with the black athletes.
Yeah.
But it comes down to the boosters, Charlton, who they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when we talked about a couple of months ago that Notre Dame finally ended up paying off Charlie Weiss, 6 years after he's been gone from the program, which he got 5 years after the program, and he only got $19.5 million after he was fired.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Notre Dame, $19.5 million. Kansas finally paid him off last year, the last $5.5 million of his contract. 2 programs that he ran into the ground.
Yeah.
He was white, and he stayed long beyond his welcome.
Yep.
But, when we look around and we talk about the 4 major hires that were just done, Charlton, all of those programs are predominantly led by African Americans, okay?
Yeah.
And they all have assistant African American coaches on their roster, but they never got a job interview.
Yeah.
I mean, these white coaches were hired so quick that the leaving coach never even got his door closed.
Yeah, and
it was almost like a premeditated hiring. The
Yeah.
white guy's not getting an interview.
And you know what's ironic, Big C? I think a lot of these offenses, they're running what's called the spread because they want to get the top athletes in a position where they can run and pass like Deshaun Watson did last year. Also, Marcus Mariota when he did at Oregon. You know, Steve Young did that back in the days at BYU. But now in the NFL, they're saying that's not a popular offense right now because too many of these top quarterbacks that are in the top 10 in college football, they're black. And they're getting their teams into bowl games and then winning national championship games. Last year, he had 2 African-American quarterbacks starting for Alabama and also for Clemson. And now when it's time to get drafted, they tend to drop down from being able to beat people that they beat in college. They don't think they can beat them in the NFL. So that's a farce. They're saying, well, the spread quarterback can't play in the league. That's all they have at the college level. And I think Chris Alt back in the day started that pistol offense at Nevada, and that's what Colin Kaepernick had mastered. But they're saying they can't find a job for him because his hair is not short enough, Big. So you believe that garbage?
Well, you know who I blame for that, Jonathan? I blame Michael Vick. They brought Michael Vick in, as a spokesman for black athletes in the NFL. That's like when they used to bring out Jesse Jackson as a spokesperson for black America.
Yeah.
Whenever there was some problem going on in racial divide, he was the one going to come out and tell America how to react.
Yeah.
But you have Michael Vick, a convicted felon, okay?
Yeah.
He spent time in prison.
Yeah.
And you're going to come out and tell other African Americans athletes how to act? Well, you spent your entire professional career having an afro and cornrows and, spending time in jail.
Yeah.
So you're going to be a spokesperson to tell someone how they shouldn't act. A non-criminal, that's my point. A non-criminal. Colin Kaepernick's a non-criminal.
No.
So you're going to have a criminal. And this is what I talked about, that the NFL is an advocate and haven for criminals.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That they're going to tell the criminals how to act, to tell the non-criminals how to act. So
Yeah.
you can become one of us.
And Big
so
C.
you'll be more acceptable by the NFL statute.
And Big C, I love how you're just like Walter Cronkite. You just happen to be African American, but you always say just the facts and Google it. And for people who like to Google, there are 2 prominent NFL quarterbacks that happen to be Caucasian that were accused of sexual assault, and they still got jobs, and they still played in Super Bowls, and no one told them to get the hell out of the country. So if you're a woman, that's telling you what the NFL feels about women. If you stand up for Black Lives Matter, like the police officer that planted some more evidence that we just heard about, or if you just go out and sexually assault somebody, you can become president or even get a job in the NFL. And that's a fact. If you don't believe that, all you got to do is Google it. I do want to say sports is $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. Yeah.
But look at what Ezekiel Elliott just did in Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Colin Kaepernick didn't punch anybody.
No.
Ezekiel Elliott, this is his 3rd incident in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay? He just left college.
Yeah.
And he's been on 3 police blogs in a year and a half. Okay?
Wow. Yeah.
Assaulting people.
Yeah.
We've seen him on video doing it. So, I mean, the 2 are alleged.
Yeah.
The one on video, you can't even lie about that. Everybody ran it on an outlet.
Yeah.
But, it's okay because, he assaulted people.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick didn't assault anybody.
Yeah.
But Ezekiel Elliott stays running the football, doesn't get suspended. They just tell him, well, you need to grow up. Well, at 21 years old, if you haven't grown up and you make millions of dollars,
Yeah.
you haven't figured it out yet.
No, they just keep hiding people. Big C is all it is. They just keep hiding
It's not
people.
even hiding, Jonathan. The NFL, love the NFL. It's been great for my life, over the years.
Yeah.
It still is. But, what it has done now, Jonathan, because it is allowing so many players in that don't have the etiquette, that doesn't have the mannerism to care. When they talk about protecting the shield, I listened to Roger Goodell talking about protecting the shield.
Yeah.
He wants to suspend Tom Brady for a damn deflated football, okay?
That was a joke.
A deflated football. But if you're out there, you're drunk, you're high, you're beating up women, you're assaulting women, you're assaulting other citizens, that's okay in the NFL. We won't suspend you for that. So let some air out of a football, you get a 4-game suspension. But you commit a criminal offense, you're okay. You're one of us, buddy.
Maybe they don't think people have Google on their phone, and so if you're looking for athletic and event insurance, pull up Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century in all 50 states, and they work with Big C Sports on iHeartRadio network. Big C, I want to bring up something as we close on our second half of the program. so many great things have happened in the world of college football. The SWAC, the Historical Black College Football Conference, they're canceling their championship game after 17 seasons. They play at the Georgia Dome. They're going to be doing what's called a Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. They feel it's a better way to get more teams involved, and so I congratulate them for even having that game, and it's been on television, but they had some dwindling crowds. Hopefully they'll get more attention into the SWAC football conference, this Big C. But I want to bring up this. We're going to preview the SEC football conference, and I just want you to focus on some of the top running backs in the history of the SEC and just how dominant that region of the country is. And many of the athletes that go to the SEC now, when they were dealing with segregation, they were part of the SWAC that has sent numbers of people onto the NFL. Big C, your thoughts on the greatest running backs in the history of the SEC?
Well, when you talk about the SEC, Jonathan, 40, 45 years ago, those would have been all SWAC running backs, okay?
Yep.
They would have been playing in that conference. They'd have been playing in what's going to be now the Heritage Bowl. But after desegregation, Jonathan, the SEC couldn't do anything but live in the SWAC, trying to pillage players.
Amen to that.
Historical Black Conference, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sent so many players to the NFL. But players like anybody else wanted to be seen on television conference, while they're in college, move on to bigger and better digs, to have the greatest athletic facilities, and that's what the SEC was able to do.
Yeah.
And you think about the great running backs that have played in that conference, the African-American running backs. But prior to that, they had Heisman Trophy winners also, Billy Cannon.
Yeah.
And LSU won the Heisman back in the 50s. They've always had a great lineage of running backs, but we've seen running backs like Emmitt Smith, Eric Grant, Darren McFadden, George Rogers. These guys have been great running backs. We saw Ingram in Alabama.
Bobby Humphrey.
Just recently.
Yeah.
Bobby Humphrey. These kids, you look at Cadillac Williams at Auburn, Bo Jackson, Lionel James at Auburn. This conference has been laden with running backs, Charleston. You think about Emmitt Smith, NFL's all-time leading rusher.
Yeah.
You think about Bo Jackson, Heisman Trophy winner, one of the most hyped and advertised athletes of all time, Charleston.
Yeah.
Dual sport athlete. But the greatest running back to come out of that conference, Charleston, and people will scratch their head, not Bo Jackson, but Herschel Walker out of the University of Georgia, Charleston.
Oh, really?
Is the greatest SEC running back ever.
Why would you say that?
People will say, how can you say Bo? Well, you think about it, Charleston. Bo Jackson only spent 3 years at the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Think about it. 3 years. He gained 5,800 yards in just 3 seasons at that university.
Wow.
Statistically, he was the greatest running back in college football history if you do his numbers on average.
Yeah.
Not only that, Charlton, he was a Heisman Trophy winner and a national championship winner at the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
So you think about his accomplishments at that level. He turned pro after his junior year, Charlton, and went and hung out with your buddy in New Jersey, Donald Trump.
That's how rumors get started, Big Z.
Okay, well, I saw that tattoo on your leg.
Hey, I didn't pass the paperback test, so I couldn't have gotten in, if you understand what I mean, Big Z.
In 2 seasons in the USFL, Charlton, he rushed for some 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
Think about that. The first running back in pro football history in his first 2 seasons to rush for 4,000 yards. That's on top of the 1,500 yards that he did in college.
Yeah.
The defunct USFL came along. He goes to the Dallas Cowboys, Charlton.
Yeah.
Again, Herschel Walker's in that 1,000-yard rushing club. You think about it, he didn't know how not to rush for 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you turned around.
Yeah.
Not only that, Charlton, Herschel Walker in the history of the NFL was the most valued player in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
He was the most valued. The Minnesota Vikings gave up 11 players to obtain Herschel Walker.
That's crazy.
The biggest trade in pro sports history. Everybody talks about these NBA trades and players being moved back and forth.
Yeah.
Herschel Walker was 11 for. They traded an entire side of the football for Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
So that's how the Dallas Cowboys won those 3 Super Bowls. Was accredited to Herschel Walker. He should have got 3 Super Bowl rings out of that trade, Charlton, for what he did for that Dallas Cowboy organization.
But see, that's a very good point you brought up, that people credit Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones for winning the Super Bowl, but really it's because they had so much leverage with the Herschel Walker deal that happened. Now someone that reminds me, I know we talked about the the Pac-10, which was the Pac-8 and the Pac-12 earlier this week, and you thought that Marcus Allen was arguably the greatest running back in the history of college football, maybe even the NFL. I want to ask you about the marketing that's going on, because what you just brought up, I just thought about it. All of these players would have been part of the SWAC, not all of them, but the majority of them would have been part of the SWAC with Eddie Robinson and Georgia Southern and Southern football and all those good conferences that really are struggling financially because they don't have the sponsorship that pumps in the top athlete that they do now at Alabama. In fact, Eddie Robinson, people talk about how great Nick Saban is as a coach. I believe Eddie Robinson, the great Eddie Robinson at Grambling, he's accounted for about over 200 professional athletes that came through Grambling University, but you never saw them on TV every week like you do Alabama. Big C, your thoughts?
He has players dropping in pro football's Hall of Fame. That's how good a coach Eddie Robinson was in securing talent. He was the winningest coach in college football history, Charlton, in excess of 400 wins. You know, when you look at it, not only did he have #1 draft picks makes the NFL Hall of Fame, but he also had free agents, Charlton, who made the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He has players who won Super Bowls, Charlton, who came out of that tiny college. You think about Alcorn State, Jackson State, Mississippi State, Mississippi Valley State, Charlton. These coaches down in the SWAC, Southern, they put together a plethora of players that are part of NFL history and more, but they don't get the credit anymore because these universities get all the sponsorship.
Yeah.
And you have to blame ESPN, CBS, ABC, NBC, because they devalue the black university. When we talk about racism in America, Charlton, it also exists in broadcasting. That was systematic racism to rob the historical black colleges of economics and players. It's what it did. So as the players left, the broadcast companies knew we didn't have to put these programs on television, so they would just triumph economically. We would see lesser programs. You think about it. ESPN broadcasts high school football games. High school. And won't broadcast the historical black college games.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
And that's asinine, Dalton, when you look at it. That you value high school football more than you value these historical black universities. That's devalue and that's racism, Charlton. Because you can't explain it any other way. And you're going to tell me that a high school stadium that has 7,000 people in it is more valuable than a historical black college that they have 25,000 people in the stadium. If you broadcast the games, the fans will come. And the sponsorship also, Charlton.
Well, Big C, you brought up a very good point as we get ready to close. If I look at the school that Carson Wentz came from, North Dakota State, the Bison, they've been successful at their level of football, but they've been on TV more than the SWAC conference. And the SWAC conference, I guarantee anyone to Google this, the conference that North Dakota State plays in, how many players has that conference sent on to the NFL? Compare that to the SWAC conference, how many players the SWAC has sent on to the NFL? And when you're putting players on TV, you would think people would want to see professional football talent. But when it comes to the facts, and you can Google this, you'll see that North Dakota State has been on college football programs, ESPN, more than any SWAC football conference over the last 25 years, Big C, and they can Google that for a fact. Big C, as we get ready to close.
Well, this with the SWAC. The SWAC has sent 2 starting quarterbacks to the Super Bowl. Steve McMahon, Doug Williams. So this conference has been productive. The SWAC also produced the former all-time leading rusher in the NFL, Walter Payton. Okay, so this conference has a plethora of dominant and superior players in the NFL. And when you look at the Hall of Fame, there's at least 30 to 40 players from the SWAC conference that are in the NFL Hall of Fame. So it hasn't been a lesser of talent, Charlton. And we're talking about a small conference compared against the entire United States. The small Division II conference, 1AA conference, whatever it is, the talent has always been there. It's just now separated by racism with the rest of America through broadcasting or lack of broadcasting.
Well, Big C, that's a very good point. We hope to shine a light on that because we want to make sure that the roots of an organization, whether it's the Negro League Baseball or if it's basketball, even how the Harlem Globetrotters started because they couldn't play with the white organizations, Big C. Even the churches were segregated in the South until they realized that black dollars go into the tithing box as well as white dollars, and then they integrated some of those churches. But the college football is rife for that. We want to bring light to that because there's so much treasure that's really not being acknowledged in the history of college football. So God bless the SWAC and the SEC. Obviously, we've had the Pac-12. You got Marcus Allen versus Herschel Walker out of the SEC, Big C. Marcus Allen out of the Pac-12. Tomorrow we'll get into Big Ten country. That's Woody Hayes country and Bo Schembechler country to go over the history of the top running backs in college football coming out of the Big Ten. Big C, we've talked about the Lakers and maybe they won't celebrate winning the Summer League. We've also talked about how does hate sell in politics and in sports. We have 4 big hires for college football. They're all Caucasian. And then we also talked about the Southeastern Conference and their dominant football down there. Big C, as the words of Ollie and I think it's Drew Mandini Brown, they said, rumble, young man, rumble. What are you looking forward to in the world of sports, Big C?
I'm looking at baseball last night, Charlton. Bryce Harper and Mike Trout got matched up.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper took a yard. Mike Trout just coming back off a thumb surgery.
Yeah.
Took it about another 40 to 50 feet farther, Charlton, in their first matchup for this season.
Wow.
That's what baseball is all about. You got these exciting young bats. Bryce Harper gets all of the ink because he's there on the coast.
Yeah.
But once again, Mike Trout has proven that he's the better of those 2 players.
Yeah.
When you look at it statistically, career-wise, just phenomenal baseball player. It was great to see him last night back on the mound, and they play again tonight, Charlton, in the second game of that series.
Well, Big C, that should be a great game. Obviously, we talked about so many things in the world of sports, and our hope at Big C Sports is that we say things that you can Google. You don't have to take our word for it. Just hit that blue G on your phone, and also hit every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide on the iHeartRadio network. Follow Big C Sports, the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. We always want to tell you there's never, ever any room for domestic violence. If you know any woman in trouble, just call 911. No man or woman should have to go through that garbage, especially on their own. And also, Big C, as we tell you for every Big C Sports program, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.